What's up, Zoners? It's me, Buck Wander, and today on Classic Couch Twilight Zone Edition, we bring you our breakdown and banter about Season 1, Episode 7, titled The Lonely. So stay tuned after the recap as Doc and I discuss the actors in the episode, also the ones that we would cast if we filmed it today. We do ratings, symbolism, favorite scenes, so much more. It's a lot of fun, so grab your popcorn, have a few laughs. Oh, and by the way, Steven Seagal even makes it on this show today. With that in mind, do like Steven Seagal and kick, punch, slap that like button, notifications, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. This would help us out immensely, and we do appreciate you. Let's get into it. The Lonely. We start our journey on an asteroid. That's correct, I said an asteroid. Rod Serling refers to this asteroid as a dungeon, and the inmate in this dungeon is our main character, James A. Corey. Corey sits in a car alone, just honking his horn. We learn that Corey is a convicted felon inmate put into isolation, which is this asteroid. Corey sits in his lonely shack, writing in his journal. He thinks of the supply ship that should be there soon. He looks out of the window, waiting for his friend to bring him his goods. We learn that the car we saw earlier was given to him, in part so he could put it together to keep him busy. Corey finds it hard to believe in anything, but the things he's brought to keep him busy, and they bring him in a reality, let's say. Ship lands. Corey's very excited, and he starts setting up board games, cards, all that good stuff to play. He runs outside to meet the captain of the ship, Allenby. They say their hellos, and Allenby is followed by two rude men dressed like players in an old Harvard football game. I mean, what is up with those helmets? One of these said gentlemen ridicules Corey and lets him know that they go here 4 times a year, which means he's away from home 8 months out of the year. Corey pleads with Allenby to come inside and play some games, but Allenby can't, because if he misses his time, he will be put into another orbit or something like that. They all head to the shack with Corey still pleading for him to stay to play games. Helmet Head 1 remarks that Corey hasn't asked about his pardon yet. Corey does ask about the pardon, and Helmet Head 1 is quick to let him know that he has not been pardoned, and he reveals that it will be 50 years till his case will be reviewed again. Corey has a bit of a breakdown and explains that he can't take his loneliness anymore. Allenby orders the two stooges out of the shack. Allenby then offers Corey some gifts, but Corey doesn't want any gifts. It makes him feel like an animal in a cage, getting tidbits from people just watching him. All he wants is a pardon, stating he is not a murderer. He killed in self-defense. Allenby lets him know that his hands are tied, and he does feel bad for him, telling him all he can do is bring him the things to help him fight his loneliness. The Helmet twins come back with a big crate for Corey. Allenby has to leave, and before leaving, he tells Corey the instructions on what to do with what's in this big crate. He leaves and lets Corey know he'll see him in 3 months. Corey does thank Allenby before he leaves for whatever it is in this big crate. Allenby then leaves, and Corey opens the crate. Corey's visually startled to see what's inside and takes the instructions out and reads out loud.
You are now the proud possessor of a robot built in the form of a woman.
He has received a female robot. Some say robot, some say robot. Who am I to judge? Corey does not like this robot, whatever it is, and tells her to leave, saying he doesn't need her around. She doesn't leave and just states that her name is Alicia. She is in the shack now waiting on Corey, showing that she's very human-like, but Corey is still not having it. Corey then questions her and asks if she can feel. She tells him yes, she can. Corey leaves the shack and is followed by Alicia. He is still not having this and feels that he's being mocked. Corey grabs her by the arm and throws her down, thinking she can't feel anyway. Corey yells at her for a bit, feeling that he's still being mocked by the memories of women. Alicia turns and is crying. Corey apologizes and seems confused. We now go forward a little bit and playing checkers together, getting along just fine. They even spend a romantic evening looking at the stars. And as they look up, they spot a ship coming and realize that this must be the ship coming to see him with Allenby aboard. Allenby lands and gives Corey the great news that he has been pardoned. Corey will be taken back home to Earth and has 20 minutes to leave. Allenby then tells him that he can just grab a couple things because they're already over the weight limit. Corey, of course, thinks one of these things will be Alicia, but Allenby lets him know that she's too heavy and he has to leave her behind. Corey pleads with Allenby, but Allenby doesn't budge. Corey then runs to Alicia and asks her to show him that she's a real woman. So the frantic Corey pleads some more as Allenby pulls out his gun and shoots Alicia in the face. The heartbroken Corey stares at Alicia's face. That is just wires and gears. Corey takes it all in and heads to the ship to return back to Earth.
Well, there's the breakdown for The Lonely. And I am here. It's Buck Wanderer alongside Doc Wagner all the time. And everybody out there that just stuck through the breakdown of our fantastic show, The Twilight Zone. Doc and I are going to go over actors that are in there. The actors we put in there, symbolism, scenes, all sorts of fun stuff. So stick around. I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's a lot of fun. Doc, The Lonely. And I know you're just chomping at the bit to go after it. You want to get after it right now with The Lonely?
As always, I am always chomping at the bit.
That's right. Hit that like and subscribe button, by the way, just to help us out. Doc, let's start with the actors.
Let us delve into the realm of these performers, exploring their talents and unraveling their intricacies on this stage of shadows and light.
Oh, well, Corey, hell of a performance. And he was played by Jack Warden. Jack Warden, first role was an uncredited role in Sunset Boulevard in 1950. Last role was in The Replacements in the year 2000. So that's a one hell of a long career.
Well, you liar.
And I know it's one of 2 Zone appearances by him. He was also in The Mighty Casey, which is also in season 1, and that episode is chock full of fun facts, so I can't wait for that one. And
actually, it's funny because I didn't realize that, and now I do. I didn't realize that, Doc. I didn't. Now
I know you didn't.
Oh wow! I mean, it didn't age.
I'm trying to make you look like you know what you're talking about. That's why I always say, of course you know.
Yeah, give up on that. It's not gonna. I appreciate it.
He is our second juror from 12 Angry Men. He was juror number 7 in Angry Young Man, or even in Angry Man.
Well, you know, Doc, why don't we go through, like, at the end of these Twilight Zones, we might want to go over how many people in 12 Angry Men.
So far, we're at 2. John Fielder, and now
we know we have 2 more coming, obviously, with my boy. He's there, yes. Jack Coleman.
Of course.
There's got to be more, though. I bet there's more.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
He was, and this is true to you, one of your favorite actors. He was in Dirty Work. He was also in an episode of The Norm Show.
Really?
Norm Macdonald. Yeah. So he truly kind of wild. Think about it. He's acting in The Twilight Zone. Then he's acting with Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
So what?
It would have been cool if Norm Macdonald was actually in it. He would have showed up at the thing and been like, I don't really know why you guys are here. We're on a planet. I mean, why would you care so much? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, you're welcome, Doc.
Nominated for 2 Academy Awards, and he was also in the TV show The Bad News Bears. So I could go on and on, but you limit me with my everything, so that's all you get for Jack Warden. Now let's talk for a little bit about the robot, Alicia. Jean Marsh, who, God bless, is still with us. She's 90 years old. She won the Emmy Award in 1975 for Upstairs, Downstairs.
I think it's absolutely smashing of everybody here to do with the Emmys in California and all across the country to give me, a foreigner, this award. It's generous and unchauvinistic and typically American.
One of her most famous roles. She was also a writer for a show called The House of Elliot, which she also wrote a book on it. She's also written 3 books. Her first credit was in 1947, and the woman is still with us today. God bless. The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby. And her last credit was in a TV series called Willow. It was a voiceover role just in 2022.
Yeah, that was Willow, as in like the show, the movie. They made a TV show, I believe.
Yeah, yep. And guess what? She was in Frenzy with Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
There he is.
there it is. By the way, Doc Wagner bought me this shirt, just so you know.
A while back. I'm glad it still fits.
Yeah, well, close. It's getting tight.
Allenby was played by character actor John Danner, who is one of two roles in the Twilight Zone. He was also in The Jungle, which is a hell of a episode. Forget exactly what season that is. I think it's season 3, but one of 2 appearances in the zone. His first appearance on film was in 1941, called The Reluctant Dragon. And his last appearance was in 1989 miniseries called War and Remembrance. I don't know if you remember that one. That was a big deal when remember they did TV movies back in the 80s? TV miniseries.
War and Remembrance. Do you remember that? No, I remember. I just know the war part.
There's like the Winds of War, War and Remembrance. Yeah, that's all right. That'll be my own thing. He was an airplane.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Man has over 300 credits to his name. So one hell of an actor. And Allenby, I really liked that character. And you know what? You can also use the setting as its own character, I think, in this.
Yeah, and Allenby as a character, I mean, that was a really at first you like really didn't want to like him, right? But he had this weird he played it really, really well. I don't know if people realize it, but watch it again if you don't. In a sense of at first you're just like he's just this, disregarding schleb that's just like whatever, but he subtly does it. He doesn't have this big thing that most people do when they act where they're just like, you're my friend now. No, you just see it. Yeah. Yep. Even in the beginning, he's just frustrated. Like I get it. That was a really cool character. It really was.
Yeah. And we'll get more into it as we go on. So now we talked about the actors from the original. One of your favorite parts here, the casting call.
Ready with the shot, Mr. DeMille.
All right.
If we film this currently, I gotta know, who do you have in these leads, Buck?
Well, I'm gonna go weirdly once again, and I feel like after going through all these, I'm going like weirdly commercial. I really kind of am. I'm going to delve into the indie thing a little bit more. Don't worry about it. I'm going to give my people some love. But all right, how about, and I'm going to go 2 for 1 right here, kind of. What about if we had Allenby and Corey as the Wilson brothers, Luke and Owen?
Okay.
Now, let me explain this. Obviously, Luke would be Allenby. Owen, this is because Owen's got this little thing about him. And maybe it's because, Doc, you talked about Midnight in Paris, and I thought about the Woody Allen type thing. Yes. This is how I'm looking at it then. Instead of that inner monologue that we see during this, right? We hear the inner monologue a lot. We hear the narration, right. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I could see Owen Wilson saying this aloud to himself.
With his Owen Wilson
with his
voice.
Kind of like, that whiny sort of thing
right.
he does. And being stuck there. And I just thought of Luke being this, because Luke is totally different. And maybe I thought of Wes Anderson directing this, because that would be really
interesting.
Fun. Right. I mean, strange enough that it's fun. Obviously, it'd be a lot different Wes Anderson doing it. And that's obviously the Wilson brothers, how they got their start and everything like that was Wes Anderson, their college roommate, I believe.
Appropriate. That's inexcusable. That I don't forgive. What were you thinking? What were you thinking?
So I think that would be cool. I thought about it. I was like, Owen Wilson being stuck there alone with that monologue out loud.
I really like Luke.
And Luke, I think, is that's like, hey, man, like,
this is what I'm trying to help.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I'm going with those. Now, the woman, I went back and forth with everything because this is a different type of animal, I guess, because it's how it's directed. And I know everybody out there is going to be like, and listen, if you don't go out there, be a guy or girl, thinking like, oh, this guy's been stuck here in a female who he's attracted to females. Let's just say that. Probably at this time, I'm sure that's what they're going with. We're all thinking one thing.
I am no pervert.
Right. So do you make her with total sex appeal, right? So that relationship becomes a little bit different. And if it doesn't, I didn't come up with really anybody because I didn't want to say anybody to knock them down. I came up with somebody if they were like really pretty, like Charlize Theron. I thought of kind of plain, simple, very good actress. I think
Yeah,
to just play that part,
absolutely.
and she's kind of like a Barbie doll. Let's face it, and make her like a robot would look good, and she could definitely play the part. But in my mind, I'm thinking if I'm casting this and it's that way, and I don't want people to think a different way, I would go probably a different angle and get somebody maybe not so sex appealish.
True.
But I really didn't want to throw anybody on under that bus.
No, I understand.
But I do think, and out there, hey, in the comments below, who would you throw under the bus if you were going to say that? Because I'm not going to do it right now. but I thought like a Charlize Theron would be good in that part. I'm trying to look age appropriate too, I guess, for it. That's the hard part. I keep saying these people that are getting older and everything like that. But I would go, the Wilson brothers and Charlize Theron, because I think Charlize Theron is fantastic.
Sure.
And she is just stunningly, she could just stand there and she's like a doll and just could do it. I mean, yeah, and we'll get into that dynamic.
You've always believed in me. I can't thank you enough.
Now, Doc,
Nope.
what about you?
Well, I went somewhat the independent route, as always.
Yeah.
For Allenby, I went with Joel Murray. Kind of a very, very likable guy. Like he was in Dharma and Grey.
Are you in a lot of pain?
Oh, apparently not enough for Nurse Frosty here to give me a sponge bath.
He's been, what was that? God Bless America. So many movies there. He is just that
Solid.
guy.
Solid.
And I think he would play that Allenby role very well. Strict, but friendly.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
Thank you. For Alicia, I have, and this one is my mind did not go where yours did. I have a woman by the name of D'Arcy Carden, and you may know her from a show called The Good Place. She played the robot in
what's her name? Oh God.
In Janet.
Janet, yes.
In The Good Place.
Fun fact by Janet. I actually went through a lot of the fun facting.
How to do this.
I will speak to you later. Go to your void.
Okay.
No, Janet, come back.
Hi there.
Fun thing. Yes.
I thought I had trouble coming up with someone, and I thought that would be kind of a fun role.
That's a great call, Doc. That's a great call because that's kind of what I was almost looking for. Because, like, no sex appeal about her, like how she played that role. I'm saying
just very normal.
Okay.
Oh, get over yourself, you dork. The whole system is royally effed.
Yeah, and kind of like I wonder if they thought that in The Good Place, right?
They just
this robot,
almost like a great assistant or someone.
Just very,
so to speak.
I should have thought of her for my second one, not throwing anybody under the bus because that's perfect. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
And I'm surprised you haven't had this one because I know you love him. For Corey, we haven't seen him, I haven't seen him in a little while. Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah, I do like Ryan Phillippe a lot. Yes.
He did a lot of stuff in the early aughts as the heartthrob, kind of maybe even a bad boy in a couple roles, but he's 20 years older now, 25 years older now, and a little bit grizzled. I think that he could play that loneliness very well.
Yeah. Did you ever see? He was his best role, I think, when he was young was he was the one that climbed the thing in the White Squall.
Climb. Come on, we'll do it together.
I can't.
You climb, damn it! That's it. You hating this? Are you?
I hate you, you son of a bitch.
Fantastic in that. He was a young kid then too. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's solid. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
so
You
those
went
are
a
like
little, you went a little younger than me, I guess, but that works.
without Joel Murray with the exception, but yeah, a little bit. I mean, Phillippe is 50 by now, give or take.
That's pretty. You're probably right. He probably is.
We're getting old.
Yeah, you are. Speak for yourself.
That's right. That's right. Cool. Well, guess what time it is? It's my favorite time.
Fun facts.
Now, fun facts from Doc Wagner.
Let's go.
All right. So this was initially telecast November 13th, 1959. It was filmed June 15th, 16th, and 17th of 1959. Now, there is a reason why I told you that, and I'm going to get back to it in a minute. This was the second zone filmed, actually, after the pilot. Kind of interesting. This was the first of many episodes filmed at Death Valley. Whenever they really wanted to show another planet, Death Valley was perfect for it. Just the landscape of it itself. Oh, sure. Hey, it's Mars, it's Venus, wherever the hell you want it to be. You just plop a crew out there in Death Valley, and it's a whole other planet. Now, when they were filming this, it was 130 degrees.
In November.
In Death Valley.
Yeah. I've been to Death Valley. You go to Vegas that way. Yeah.
People were dropping like flies. Everyone filled in for everyone. The assistant director became the boom man. People were just filling in. It was so like rogue. But check this out. The final scene where Jean Marsh, quote unquote, died, it was 140 degrees where she was lying down. Now, let's get back to this. Filmed June 15th, 16th, and 17th, 1959.
Oh, June. I thought it was November. I don't know why I said that.
No, it was telecast in November.
Oh. They filmed in June?
They filmed in June in Death Valley. So they filmed 2 days. They filmed for 2 days in Death Valley. It got so hot that they're like, oh, we still have to do one more day of filming. So they did all the interior scenes the next day. No breaks. 3 days in a row. People are dropping like flies, 140 degrees. Could you imagine if they did something like that they wouldn't be able to?
That was like guerrilla. That's like guerrilla filmmaking. They did it probably in the early 90s, the 80s when indies started coming out. I mean, I get it. Like, that's just like, let's get this done. Let's get out of it. But it makes sense, Doc, that it was the second one. So they were probably just rolling at this point. If this is a third season, they'd be like, no, we need breaks. We're not filming at this time. Yeah, I mean, but they were ruggedly like, this is a new show. Because if they filmed it second, that means the first one wasn't out, obviously, because it was November.
Right.
So they don't even know what they have yet. They probably had, I don't know if it's in your book or anything like that, a certain amount of show deal, right?
Right.
And I don't know what it was back then. I'm sure it was just like, here's your budget to do 3.
And here's the money. Yep. I mean, they're always running over budget.
Yeah. So you wonder, I wonder what his first one was. Anybody out there down below, let us know if you know the budgets. So we know the budgets, but the terms of the contract of the first thing, was it a full season? Was it 6 episodes? Was it? I can imagine they were probably way more like, we'll give you one at a time.
No, I think it was a full season.
They gave him a full season up front, you think?
I believe they did, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we can look. Yeah, that's. And I wanted to share something that I thought you might find interesting. So, Rod Serling wrote the teleplay. Also wrote a short story. which gives a little bit more detail as to why Corey was there in the first place. And I'm going to just, and it's always fun to read what Rod Serling wrote. I always love that. But so essentially Corey saw his wife get killed by a drunk driver. He ran out of his apartment and strangled the man that did this. And he strangled the man with his bare hands while onlookers screamed, and two large men had been unable to tear him away.
That is interesting.
That's why he got arrested, because of that.
Obviously would make him the anti-hero, obviously, or whatever.
Yeah.
It would be all the time. But how would you introduce that without making Allenby look like a jerk? Right? Like, there's so many dynamics with that, because Allenby would have went over there and been like, I know you should be out. I don't understand. Right? He'd have to explain that. It'd be a whole different dynamic, and they could have done it. They could have, but it does take away from being like, it's a Twilight Zone. They want to make you wonder. We talked about this before.
Yes.
Where everything else used to be in your face. This is what it is. This gunslinger was this guy.
It's great for your imagination.
Yeah, it makes
Actually
you think.
Use your brain.
Because it is true when you watch this, and I wonder anybody out there, when you watch this, you really get the feeling that he didn't do anything that bad. Maybe because it's who he is. And
kind of a nice guy. But like, what did he do? Like, why is he there?
Because those other guys are jerks to him, and they had funny helmets on. I didn't like them very much. I wanted to.
Yeah.
One of my notes is I want to punch the helmets off of those guys, but that's just me. But that's interesting though that they wrote that, because how would you put it in? And I do think it'd be neat if it was a longer to tell that story, because then you really relate to the guy and feel more for him. But that's a whole different thing, because.
Well, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but like it should have been an hour-long episode, because there was a lot more to tell.
Sure. I mean, look at the end. I mean, nowadays it'd be a no.
Right.
And it just ended. Like, okay, it was acceptance. It was.
Well, I do have to read you one more thing on the ending. It's after Allenby shot her, and again, reading the words of Rod Serling is always so special. All you're leaving behind you, Corey, is loneliness. I must remember, he said. I must remember to keep that in mind. Like, just, man, it's
beautiful. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Instead of dwelling on it or whatever, it's acceptance. It's just, it's what it was.
And I have a question for you and anybody out there. Why? And I see this not only in the Twilight Zone, if a Hitchcock presents any Ray Bradbury, why do they always say robot? Why do they not say...
It's on my notes. It's on my notes. What is robot? Yes, thank you. I don't know. It's on my notes. I've robot, question mark, question mark, question mark. It's on my notes. Robot.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. They say it in all the older shows. I have no idea why.
Maybe it's because like a bit was like a bit of a, I don't know, parts sound like bits, like terabyte bits. I don't know. I'm just making shit up now.
Stop saying shit like that. It's unprofessional.
Sorry.
No, that's good. That's good.
That's why it's a robot. It's made up of bits.
It's made up of bits.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. But they do say robot.
Yeah.
And I thought when they first said it, I was like, did they say robot? I never noticed on the other ones.
It happens often, frequently, in whatever older TV shows, movies. It's funny. I mean, I'm sure we can look it up and find out. I thought,
anybody out there in the comments below, if you give us the answer, we'll give you a personal shout out, and I don't know, Doc Wagner will do something else for you. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely.
Why are you yelling at me?
Whatever, make me a bicycle clown.
22 minutes, 37 seconds. Can we cut out? I had to blow my nose.
Yeah, I'm keeping this in, by the way.
Symbolisms.
Symbolism is just too delicious.
I am always always love your symbolisms here, Buck. You do not read from the same playbook as I do on this one.
I am a reacher. I am somebody who tries to think outside that box. And sometimes outside that box is filled with stupidity and nonsense and everything else. But once in a while, I grab something great, what they're thinking. And I'm going to go simple here, but not so simple. Right away, you see a big close up on the checkerboard. What's the last part of that word? Board.
Board.
Right? Checker, board. You want to play board games. I'm just saying, drilling our head, that is what I saw maybe Rod put in there.
Okay.
No, obviously there's a lot of other things going on there with loneliness and all this stuff. Great. I'll let Doc tell you that. I'm going checkerboard right now. Call me crazy.
Oh, you're crazy. Oh, child. No, you definitely think outside the box, and I love it. I have all the boilerplate ones. I've got loneliness. I have humanity. I mean, we talk a lot about Allenby, and he could have easily been a jerk. Just, hey, this is my job. He could have been like the other two guys. Didn't have to bring the robot, as it were, to him. It kind of shows that there is actual faith in humanity. And obviously one of the symbolisms is loneliness. He's got that car, and just that's, imagination. He's thinking that he's not on an asteroid. He's driving down and along Big Sur somewhere.
Well, it gave him purpose. His purpose too. Like it gave him purpose.
Yes.
And what happens when we have no purpose? It happens when people, you can have all the money in the world, but you have no purpose. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the big deal? And it gave him purpose. He built the car. It was there is a lot of things here when you say that loneliness, everything like that. It hits on a lot of those things. And one of the things too is I want to bring up in case I forget is the love part of it, right? When you fall in love with somebody or whatever it is, you really look at it like, you said she starts thinking like him. Now, is it a robot or is that like human nature? We tend to act like our mates, let's just say. Whatever it is, whatever your mate is, whoever you're around a lot, maybe it's your friends. And you start being able to finish your own sentences. You start like they take on your personality traits. You take on their personality traits. So just a little warning out there. Be careful who you're around sometimes because it will happen. And it is true. We've all seen it. And I did think that was something out there too. That was a bigger picture that really, I don't know if most people noticed, was that when he says that. And we'll get into that with the scene part. But it is about love in a way. I don't want to get all weird with it, but it's about love where can you love somebody because because they've evolved to be like you. You've evolved to be like them. You're like one piece together. I don't know. But there was something to that where it's a robot, but yet is she just emulating you? And you question that sometimes, especially in younger relationships, I'm sure even in older ones. But, are you just with this girl or guy or whatever you're with that is just placating towards you? And you're like, is this real or is it not real? I mean, there's no difference between a robot and a real person at that point.
No. Well, and that I actually had something on that too. Do you think Corey imagined it all? Do you think that the robot was actually a robot, that there was absolutely no feelings there? That he was totally envisioning her so-called warmth and affection. Do you think it could have? He's there. He's by himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's the guy
Are we seeing what he thinks, or did this actually happen? I mean, it's
that is true. Now that's a good one. See, there you go. You're thinking outside the box there, Doc. That's good. I like that. Now you're right because we've seen this before. You see this with people. Are you just seeing what you want to see when that person does something? If they look back, they love me. You know what I mean? And if you're that lonely anybody that says hello to you, you read into. So maybe it is his imagination, and this is a robot just like, yes, I will do what you say. I am here. And it could be in his head. I mean, that's definitely true. And maybe the fact that he wasn't that, I would say, broken up about when they shot her, kind of like, okay, all right. Maybe that was him being like, all right, I was just really lonely.
Yep.
I don't know. Huh? Yeah, that is true too. It is. Because she really doesn't break down anything. It's more of his inner dialogue.
But yeah. I mean, but he is going home too.
Interesting.
You are the bad influences.
I mean, there's so many you could choose from. And this goes to show you how great of a visionary that Rod Serling was. This is 1959. He's talking about AI.
Well, when you say it's the second one done, I mean, talk about minimal cast, being alone. Look at the first one. They shot.
Yes.
Now look at them shooting this next.
Yes.
Rod Serling definitely had some isolation things in his head. There's
What's
no
that
doubt.
war? It's that PTSD from the war.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I don't know.
Something like just maybe realizing it anywhere, and what we do. I mean, and also Rod Serling's a genius in the sense of he knows, like, let's attack everybody's biggest fear, and it's not the boogeyman. It's being alone. It's being isolated.
And there's so many episodes that are that revolve around that, outside of where is everybody and the lone.
Exactly. That's his boogeyman. That is his boogeyman. That's all of our boogeyman, really. Like,
well, because it's more real. It's more real than the boogeyman. It's more real than Jason or Freddy, or whoever is out there these days.
Yeah, no doubt.
So do you have one in particular?
I do. Well, obviously, what is AI? Obviously, right? AI, but they really start thinking for itself. You know, one I went on a limb for, and kind of out on a limb, just in his thing, being institutionalized. Obviously, it was one of my favorite movies. It's not my favorite movie of all time. Is Shawshank Redemption, and I haven't mentioned that yet, but it really is. And Brooks in Shawshank, remember? Like, he really just didn't know what to do on the outside. And I felt like that with him when he was talking about, like, the 15 pounds.
50 years. This is all he knows. In here, he's an important man. He's an educated man. Outside, he's nothing.
And if it didn't cross anybody's mind that he was going to look at one of those guys, those punks to him, and be like, oh, we need to get her on instead of him, and he was just going to kill him.
Huh.
That crossed my mind. And I've seen it before, and it's still like, I hope he does it. And it's like, well, we're going to bring her. We got rid of him.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty wild. He killed, one of those servicemen was Ted Knight, actually.
Well, we're waiting.
Really?
Yeah, uncredited role.
Well, you got a bonus fun fact right there.
Yes, I was keeping that one just for you.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. That's good.
I think I went the Buck Wonder way on this one.
Yeah,
I did. I've been hanging out way too long with you. There's a movie in the 80s, Robert Downey Jr., Weird Science.
Yeah.
They create their own. I had something else down, but from what you were talking about earlier, I kind of thought of Weird Science just as we were doing this. And they create a robot, and the robot is a female, and we'll leave it at that. But just kind of a tongue-in-cheek influence on that one.
I love how you said Robert Downey Jr., where he was like a small part in that, by the way, just so you know.
Well, Bill Pullman, I think, was in it. He was the jerk brother.
Bill Paxton, that's
right.
Dude, buttwad.
Yes. Chat. Yes. And Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, right.
The main character.
He was the main character.
Yeah, great. But Robert Downey Jr., one of his first roles, he was in that. He was.
Yeah. Well, Weird Science.
Kelly LeBrock.
Not the typical Doc Wagner answer. So
I know. They designed Kelly LeBrock. Kelly LeBrock, I believe it was. The
yes.
Was really bad if it wasn't. And Kelly LeBrock, I believe, they just couldn't design her to duck a Steven Seagal right hand.
Real fucked up, kind of bizarre. combination of monkey shit.
All right, with that, favorite scenes. There are so many good ones in this one.
He compiled all the best boner scenes, I guess.
Well, the whole thing is like one scene.
It really is. It really is.
It really is. But I mean, obviously, he's looking up at the stars. I mean, that's got to be the one, right? Because that's the tell-all when he sees the rocket overhead, and they have this discussion. And it's funny because I thought about that discussion after you said it, maybe he's just imagining it. And that's really where his dialogue comes in, where he's like, this is a person that like knows him the best and whatever. And is it a sign? Now I'm thinking, is it a sign of like, we settle with what we have in front of us? Do we settle for are we only, like picky with what we have in front of us? Right. And is it something like that?
Yeah. Huh. I like that.
For mental health. Real eyes, realize, realize. Sit with that one for a minute.
Anyway, favorite scene.
I would say this. Yeah, you go ahead. I'd say this.
The ecstasy and then the agony at the end with Corey. I mean,
oh yeah.
On just a flip, just on a dime, like, oh my god, I'm going home, and then Allenby telling him we can only take 15 pounds of equipment, whatever the case may be, and not taking her, and just like went from winning the lottery to losing the lottery in seconds, and just I think he played that so well. He
sold it. He sold it that you believe that him and her, we're going there. We're going to go again. And we'll look out the window, and he was all excited. And it's like, but she weighs more than 15 pounds.
Yeah. I feel like we talk a lot about the actors and the things that they don't say. And with Warden, with his facial expressions and that said just so much.
And he's dropped face. He was just like,
wait a second, right?
Yeah, he took it in. Yeah, he really did. And he also didn't get like weirdly overexcited and sold it too much in the beginning.
No, and that's why
very understanding. That's what the little simplicities of a great actor compared to a good actor is that. It was very simple. It was like he was just like, okay, great, we're gonna go. He wasn't like,
let's go. Like, I don't need anything. Like, I don't need the shit back in my cabin. No,
I'm good. I got my boots. I got my pen, my paper. Me and her are going. We're good. All right, come on, let's go. Wait, what do you mean? Not her. And he just drops. And that was interesting. Yeah, that was a great scene too. You're right. There is a lot of little great acting scenes.
We keep on seeing it.
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen this in a long time, Doc.
That's why we're still talking about this show, because it's such good. I mean, obviously great writing. The acting is always a delight.
It really is. And it's the quickest 5 minutes ever. You're just like, is this half over? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you just delve in. It's such a, and they do wrap it up. So, I mean, and ballsy. It was ballsy. The ending was ballsy.
It was kind of cool how that iconic scene at the end, with her face all gears and stuff like that. It's still out there. People still will recognize that. I saw people had that as a Christmas ornament. Twilight Zone Christmas ornament. It was just a picture of her face with all the gears and stuff.
Oh, they're in the holiday spirit, huh?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we dissected this up and down.
We did, I believe. Doc, I think you wanted to talk about some comments or something.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I put something out on Reddit just to get people's feelings out. And boy,
can you read, my son?
Well, that depends. Can you go fuck yourself?
People loved it. Not really a bad word. People loved all the actors. one thing that somebody shared with me, and maybe we can put a clip out. Someone actually filmed a music video to this, and just his music with the scenes in this, which is pretty wild. A guy by the name of Meyer Hamilton. But I watched it. I sent it to you. Take a look at it.
I saw. I did.
Pretty cool.
What a smart thing to do, right? Music and put the Twilight Zone around it. I mean, obviously, like you probably can't. I mean, you can just do that, but that's a cool thing because you're right. Any song you write, you could probably put Twilight Zone to it. You could just do it, or watch the Twilight Zone and get inspired and probably write a song from it.
Yeah, and a lot of people like me agreed there wasn't enough story. They needed more. A couple people were saying that about the hour-long episode.
Yes.
A lot of people thought like you, Buck, and were attracted to the robot.
I was in person that they attracted to the. I mean, she was good looking.
Well, they thought of that with the robot. But what's cool is that we are now. This is like our 5th episode. Where folks are starting to comment on a lot of stuff on YouTube and X. We had a great comment on our special Christmas episode, Night of the Meek, by Carolyn Staples. Gave us a pretty cool story about Art Carney and the little girl who was crying, who said all she wanted was her dad to get a job for Christmas. So if you peep in, a guy by the name of Tully gave us some extra people who he thought. I think he had DB Sweeney as Corwin, which is pretty cool. Good for him. All right, Tully. Yeah. So keep it up, everybody. Like it and comment on it. And now we got to rate.
Yeah, well, yes, we do. And thank you for those comments, because give us some fun facts, because I like yours a lot better than Doc's sometimes, but they're very good. No, but we can always use them. Docs are great. I'm just kidding. All right, let's give our ratings on this episode.
Well, who are you to judge me?
Doc, you want to start this one and give your rating first?
Yeah, I feel like you always start these for the ratings. Solid episode. I gave it an 8. I think that this episode is right before Time Enough at Last, and it just that has nothing to do with it. But we're getting into an excellent episode. This episode, I give it an 8. We talked about the dialogue, we talked about the acting, we talked about the directing. I don't want to hammer home the point. This was a hell of a good episode, and I wish there were more. I wish more people knew about this one because the zoners, the folks on the Reddit, they love it. But I think the people who know the show know I Have the Beholder, Time Enough at Last. The Lonely is, like, I think by some considered a second tier episode. I definitely would put it in the top tier.
That's interesting. Not a feel-good episode, actually, or was it? Would you say yes or no on that?
I don't think so. I mean, for Corey, he gets to go home, but what does he get to go home to?
Exactly. My rating, I'm right with you. I'm an 8. I'm an 8 right there too. It's simply beautiful in my mind.
Yeah.
It's simple, but beautiful. It really is so weirdly good. I'm going to say that.
It works.
You know, like 10 minutes in, you're just kind of like figuring it out. You're like, is this boring? Is it not boring? Am I what? But something, it wraps up, and it's just, I don't know. It's so simple. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like Corey. He's just a very likable guy.
With a guy with maybe 2 pages of dialogue, really.
Right.
With some, you know what I mean? Not even maybe.
Yeah, like Mike Ferris. Yeah.
Yeah. Just with less going on than Mike Ferris had. Like, kind of really. Like, he just.
The checkers game with the gear, with like the nuts and the bolts.
And even just how he pathetically wanted to play. We had 2 minutes. We had 2 minutes in, or whatever, you know, when he was doing that. I think you're right. I think this might be the most underrated episode, when you think about it. This might go into
I
my
think by the
top
general
10.
masses, yes, but after putting some feelers out on Reddit, we had a lot of
Really?
people were commenting on it, which made me feel better. It's I think the true zoners, as we're called, put it up there in the top tier. But the general if you talk to somebody on the street that talks about the Twilight Zone, they're gonna be like, I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's kind of buried, oddly enough.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's right before Beholder. I'm sorry, it's right before Time Enough at Last, and maybe that's the reason why. But people stream nowadays, and you could just watch. You can pick and choose whatever one you want.
Yeah, and they'll be like, which one got the most likes, or which one is the most popular?
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there it is, Doc. Another one down. On 151 to go, I believe. Is that what it is? Is that where we're at now?
Somewhere around there. Now, we'll have time. I got to watch for my glasses because Time Enough at Last is up next week.
I know.
For the first appearance of our guy.
I know. I'm getting geared up for that one. Get up, you son of a bitch. Mickey loves you. All right.
Right there behind you. Well, thanks, everybody. And
there he is. Oh, that way.
Yeah, there he is. Like Buck said, if you could like, subscribe, and comment. Really comment. We want to get the conversation going on whatever.
Yeah, we'll do our best to get back to you. When I say we, I mean Doc. No, I'll try my best as well. We talk about him all the time, and either he'll call, we talk about him either way. So one of us will get back to you.
Yep.
And we definitely will. We want to make this a community. We do. Like, I know there's already a community out there. We want to be part of it. We want to. So what do you guys want? You know what I mean? We're breaking it down. We'll do the lifting for you. Just come and watch. It's a lot of fun.
Come and watch. Yeah, we got some fun stuff in the works. So just keep on watching. We'll keep on making.
That's right. All right. So for the Triple Clowns Network. We'll see you later, everybody.
Give me the ball, Augie. Give me the ball. Bad dog.